my name is Yuridia Hernandez Morales, and today I will be talking about the Greek lyric poet named Sappho. Although there is not much information that we have about her, we do have access to some of the remaining poems that she has created that have made a significance to poetry. So in this presentation, I will be talking about who Sappho is, her poems, and her queer relevance and significance to world literature. So before we continue, we should get a basis of who we are talking about. Sappho was a Greek poet who was born at least around 620 BCE on the island of Lesbos to an aristocratic or high-class family. Although there are inconsistencies in her family lineage, it is noted that she did have several brothers and was married to a wealthy man in the island of Andros and has had a child. The reason that we know about this is that her daughter was actually mentioned in some of her writings. Due to her being born into wealth, she has had the resources and education to pursue poetry and even compose music. Her father's name and origin remain a big mystery as there is no connection to the Sappho family tree, although it is suggested that there are links to the Tro nobility. During her time, Sappho was a leader of a theos, which is essentially a female community. The main purpose of the group was to educate young women about life subjects such as marriage. Aphrodite was an essential symbol to this community as she symbolizes love and fertility. Although many may think that this is some form of an educational institution, it actually ran more like a sisterhood, or a ritualistic sisterhood. They performed rituals and chorus songs together as a form of a ceremony. As most of her historical context remain to be rather legendary than factual, including her apparent affairs. While she originally married a man named Clearus, she had a running affair with a man named Phaeus. Towards the end of her life, she recognized that she was never going to win Phaeus' love, so she decided to throw herself off a ledge near the sea. Her belief for this was that she had enough faith for the gods and she would survive and be freed from her unrequited love. In the end, she ended up passing away from drowning. Before I continue, I do want to emphasize again that many of her accounts remain a mystery and that everything that we know is just a result of academic speculation, but her poems give us a general guideline of certain events in her life. I do want to bring up pointers in regarding to Sappho's work. Unfortunately for scholars, there are two main reasons why it is even difficult to understand Sappho's work. The first is that we barely have any access to much of her poetry, and the second is that there are prejudices surrounding the context of her work. Many scholars acknowledge that some of such work or timeline is unreliable but are preserved due to them being claimed as ancient considering how old that they were actually written. There are many speculations on why Sappho's work was lost, or multiple reasons to be more exact. Was that there was either a language barrier or even burned due to the erotic nature of her work. Although historians believe that her poetry was lost largely due to the neglect of the manuscript, a lot of Sappho's work was preserved on papyrus scrolls, which made it hard for her work to be preserved as well. As we already know, Sappho was known for being a poet, but she was mainly known for her love poems and her very apparent homoerotic writings about other women. Many scholars have speculated that she has actually had many female lovers, and that Sapphic and lesbian actually derive from Sappho's name and her place of origin. I do want to look at 3 examples of her love poem to give us a general look of how her poems were written. So the first one we're going to be talking about is Fragment 31. That man seems to me to be equal to the gods, who is sitting opposite you, and hearing you nearby, speaking sweetly, and laughing delightfully, which indeed makes my heart flutter in my breast. For when I look at you, even for a short time, it is no longer possible for me to speak. It is as if my tongue is broken, and immediately a subtle fire runs over my skin. I cannot see anything with my eyes, and my ears are buzzing. A cold sweat comes over me trembling, and seizes me all over. I am paler than grass, and I am seen nearby to have died. Ode to a Loved One. Blessed as the immortal gods is he, the youth who fondly sits by thee, and hears and sees thee all the while, softly speaks and sweetly smile. 'Twas this derived my soul of rest, and raised such tumults in my breast. For while I gazed, in transport tossed, my breath was gone, my voice was lost. My bosom glowed, the subtle flame ran quick through all my vital frame. O'er my dim eyes a darkness hung, my ears with hollow murmur rung. In dewy damps my limbs were chilled, my blood with gentle horror thrilled. My feeble pulse forgot to play, I fainted, sunk, and died away. Fragment 19. For by my side you put on many wreaths of roses and garlands of flowers around your soft neck, and with precious and royal perfume you ointed yourself. On soft beds you satisfied your passion, and there was no dance, no holy place for which we were absent. So I do want to talk about at least a little bit of the analysis of her poems, such as for fragment 19. You can see how descriptive Sappho was with her expression of love and having beautiful metaphors expressing her love towards an individual. For Ode to a Loved One is famously known for Sappho's overwhelming expression of love and expressing it in a way that her body and desire was exerted. As for interpretation, Sappho has commonly used male pronouns in indication, but the irony is that she would still express desire for women as a way to divert the attention from her. And for in the poem Fragment 31, this one specifically, it describes a very visual depiction of the psychological and physical toll it takes due to the jealousy and infatuation. The poem starts with a speaker observing a man who is talking to the main person of interest, who so happens to be a woman. The speaker then compares the man to the gods, but only due to the fact that he can contain his desire for the woman. We then see that the speaker, We then see once the woman speaks, smiles, the speaker experiences overwhelming sensations of psychological symptoms such as her voice fails her and the light breaks out under her skin. Throughout Sappho's work, she does not treat love as a complicated and abstract concept, but rather portrays it as some form of medical or psychological event that causes the deterioration of one's body. For the two poems that we have read, or the three poems that we have read, we notice how extreme Sappho's usage of her words and how she strongly thinks that the words are an accurate depiction of how love feels. So for the significance of her work, as we come close towards the end, I want to discuss the significance of Sappho and everything prior to that. While Sappho made such a significance in how she wrote love poems, it doesn't go unnoticed by certain individuals. Sappho faced such allegations and even moral suspicion that many have assumed prostitution, but it was due to her female friendships that would have been deemed quote-unquote homosexual behavior. Despite the scrutiny she's faced, she has made such a significance to poetry. It allowed the exploration of the female perspective in such a raw way and even became a blueprint for feminine literature as well as for queer artwork to become more widely known. As for literature history, Sappho's greatest ideas and importance was her contribution to the lyric genre, as her work was more of a direct and simple format instead of something that was impersonal or directed to some form of higher authority. Her celebration of love has been transferred over centuries and has influenced other poets to follow within her footsteps. At the same time, it places a timeline in Greek literacy history as a placement of her art. In the end, she is widely recognized as one of the greatest poets in world literature. Her work has starked imagery of passion, and it has influenced generations of lyric and romantic poets. And here are all of my citations.